had said many times before, I will hold people accountable who violate Missouri law.
Breaking in the last 45 minutes, felony charges against a St. Louis police officer accused of shooting and killing one of his colleagues. Thank you for joining us. I'm Steve Savard.
I'm Courtney Bryant. 24-year-old Katlyn Alix was killed early yesterday morning, and we're now learning it all started with a dangerous game involving a gun and one of her fellow officers who was on duty. News 4's
Lauren Traeger has been following this for us from the beginning and joins us live downtown sharing new details.
Yeah, that's right, guys. I just left that press conference with Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner as she announced these charges just within the last half an hour or so. We're learning a lot more about what happened yesterday morning. Those charges are involuntary manslaughter in the first degree and armed criminal action, serious felony charges that do carry a punishment. I'll get to that in just a second. Now, the person charged here is St. Louis police officer Nathaniel Hendren. He's been on the force since April of 2017. He's 29 years old, according to police. Now, here's what we know about what happened. Officer Katlyn Alix went to Hendren's home. She was there sometime Thursday early in the morning. That was actually at his home where she was. She was off duty. He was technically on duty at the time. The prosecutor's charging documents spell out the situation here. The prosecutor saying that the two of them were playing with guns, that the victim was playing with the guns with the defendant. The defendant then produced a revolver. The defendant emptied the cylinder of that revolver and then put one cartridge back into the cylinder. He spun the cylinder, pointed it away, and pulled the trigger. The gun did not fire at that point. Then the victim, Officer Alix, took the gun and pointed the gun at the defendant and pulled the trigger. The gun still did not fire, but then a third time, the victim took the gun back, pointed it at Officer Alix, pulled the trigger, and causing it to discharge. As we know, Officer Alix was pronounced dead at the hospital later that same morning. Now, we want to go now to what the circuit attorney had to say as she announced these charges this evening.
This is a devastating incident for Katlyn Alix's husband, parents, family, and for our entire community. Yesterday, we lost a shining star and a dedicated public servant. From everything I hear about this bright young woman, Katlyn represented the police department in an honorable manner, and she had a very bright future.
Now, we learned also from these charging documents a little bit more about Hendren's partner in all of this. News 4 has been told his name, but we are choosing not to release it at this particular time because he is not charged in any of this. In fact, the charging documents talk about what he said happened in all of this. The charging documents say the defendant's partner was also present. He advised that he told the defendant and the victim that they should not be playing with guns because they were police officers. He says he felt uncomfortable with them playing with guns and did not want to have any part of it, and he started to leave. As he left the room, but before leaving the apartment, he told prosecutors he heard a shot. He then went back into the room and saw the victim, Officer Alix, had been shot in the chest. Again, more information about that particular officer who was also on duty, assigned to another district, but was in Hendren's home at the time. Now, we were told that Hendren is not in custody. These charges were filed at large. We believe that may be because we were told that Hendren is injured after an incident at the hospital. We showed you some video of a police cruiser where the back of it was busted out. We have been told by sources that he did in fact injure himself using his head to bust through that window. Prosecutor's office would not comment about that today, saying only that they do not think that he is a risk to the public at all, though they say he is not actually in custody at this time. Now, he has been charged with involuntary manslaughter and armed criminal action. As I mentioned, that involuntary manslaughter charge carrying a penalty of 3 to 10 years. Certainly a lot of people might be surprised why this isn't a murder case, but the prosecutor saying this is a case of involuntary manslaughter. They were asked today, the prosecutor's office, if any charges would be added. All they would say right now is that the investigation is certainly ongoing. That part, the criminal side, there is also an internal disciplinary investigation that will certainly continue into both of these officers as well. And of course, you can count on News 4 to continue seeking answers as well. But for now, we're live at the courthouse. Lauren Traeger, News 4.
I chuck down and talk to me, but my words free. Free wordplay.